Welcome to this week's episode of Gods and Monsters by E.E. King, read by me, E.E. King. Each week, MetaStellar is releasing one episode of Gods and Monsters, both in print and on audio on YouTube. Thank you for joining us. And now, this week's episode, number 14, Queer Beer. Last week, Gabriel began to sell his necklaces in the Fates occult shop. Our hero River falls hard for a beautiful red-haired waitress named Pamela. Chapter 40. River, San Francisco, 1983. Jiangxi. River is at JoJo's crafting lemon squares, which he has added to the menu. He has the door propped open with an orange crate so that Huck can fly in or out as he pleases. Wang Li Jun is mopping the countertops, glowering at Huck like an angry bulldog. A single eyebrow forms a solid bridge above his nose. He has hungry, gaunt cheeks, sleek black hair, and low-set small ears with hairy lobes. River tries not to feel dislike. He licks the frosting, which is mostly whipped cream cheese and confectioner sugar. He hopes to ingest empathy. He wants to feel friendship, but all he tastes is the too cloying richness of sugar and cream. He feels slightly ill. Maybe, he thinks, if I add more lemon, a pinch of zest to make the sweetness palatable. But he fears the icing may be beyond redemption. JoJo stumbles down the stairs into the kitchen, waving a newspaper. There is a Jiangxi loose in city, he cries, already 3 dead in Castro. Whoa, slow down there, JoJo, River says. What is a Jiangxi? Jiangxi, a hopping, what you call a vampire. Hopping? River lifts one leg and hops towards JoJo, who laughs. No, hopping like stiff. JoJo tightens his body and staggers toward River, arms outstretched, mouth agape. Oh, River says, like rigor mortis. JoJo nods. In the day, Jiangxi rests in coffin or hides in dark. At night, it kills living. It drinks blood, absorbs qi. Qi? Qi. Life essence. Hopping need live blood. River reaches for the paper. It is the Sing Tao Daily. It is written in Mandarin. What does it say? 3 men found. They gay. Wear leather. All blood gone. River thoughtfully flattens the yellow batter into the dish. He sprinkles powdered sugar over it, deciding to leave the frosting off. These need to bake for 35 minutes, he says. If I'm not back by then, take them out for me, please. He extends his hand to Huck, who hops onto his shoulder and runs up the stairs, 2 at a time, into the daylit street. 1 block over, River sees a newspaper stand. Hey, Jiang, River says. Mr. River, replies the newspaper man. Busy day, hopping busy. He cackles, opening his mouth wide in a semi-toothed grin. He is a small, wiry man, wrinkled as an old apple. Here, River hangs Jiang a napkin filled with 5 spiced walnuts. Jiang smiles and bows. You make me remember home, he says. River studies the papers. The San Francisco Chronicle. Grim scene. The bodies of 3 men discovered this morning in San Francisco's Castro district were so gruesome that police officers sent to the scene are being offered counseling. It was just unbelievable, said Officer Douglas, chief investigator for SFPD homicide. These 3 men were obviously murdered by the same person. It appeared to be some sort of ritualistic murder. We advise caution when leaving clubs and restaurants late at night, particularly in the Castro district. Officers are questioning suspects. Next to the Chronicle, was the San Francisco Examiner. An extremely disgruntled eagle, wings spread, holding an American flag shield and arrows in each claw, toppled its masthead. Well, I guess you'd look pissed off too if you had to fly around lugging that. Huck? River asks. Huck squawks. 3 murdered in ritualistic killings. 3 men, Stephen Keller, age 26, Jack Fielding, age 24, and Frederick Rawlings, age 27, were found brutally murdered in the Castro district of San Francisco this morning. All had been killed in a similar fashion in what police said appeared to be a ritualistic murder. All were found near Castro and 18th Street, an area known for its wild club scene. The men were openly gay and appeared to have been returning home from one of the nearby discos. Time of death appeared to be about 3 a.m. Police are questioning suspects. Below these newspapers, in bigger, brighter, and bolder headlines, River spots the National Enquirer. Lurid photos of men clad in black leather and chains being attacked by Bela Lugosi smear the front page. "Gay vampire loose in Castro," reads the caption. River purchases all 3 papers. He reads the National Enquirer first. He can't help it. The bodies of 3 men were found in San Francisco's notoriously gay nightclub zone of the Castro. All 3 were handsome, buff, and wearing black leather. All 3 had spent the night at the Blow Bar, noted hookup spot. All 3 had 2 puncture wounds about 1.5 inches apart on the left side of their necks. "They look like teeth marks," an unidentified source revealed. All had had the blood mysteriously, diabolically drained from their bodies. All had chain marks clearly visible on their necks. Are the chains the missing link? Is this a gay vampire out for blood, or is this a homophobic bloodsucker on a rampage? Inquiring minds want to know. River takes the newspapers home. He wants to think, and he wants to forget. He decides to make a flourless chocolate cake for Pamela. He adds eggs, chocolate, sugar, butter, and heavy cream. He dusts it with confectioner's sugar and a dash of hope, delicate as a dream. How odd, River thinks, to name a cake after what you don't put in. You might as well call it pepperless chocolate cake or oregano-less chocolate cake or chickenless chocolate cake. Imagine how long menus would be if you named all the dishes for their lack of ingredients. He doesn't really have any hope that Pamela will try his cake, whether it contains flour or not. He crafts his sweets more as a declaration, an edible love letter, a palatable ballad. Chapter 41, San Francisco, 1983, The Short Happy Night of Bruce Riley. Bruce Riley is 21. He is new to the city and the Castro. He has just arrived from Indiana. He's beside himself with anticipation. He is ready for sex. He is hoping for love. He is dreaming of romance. He is prepared to open himself to the universe. His whole life might have been a dress rehearsal for tonight. Tonight, he is dressed to kill. He wears a black leather vest with no shirt. His chest hair has been waxed into neat triangles below his nipples, which are pierced with silver rings. His wrists are encircled by wide black leather bands studded with silver. His black leather chaps expose cheeks as white and firm as skinned apples. The ensemble is topped by a sleek leather cap. Actually, the look is slightly passé. This ensemble was all the rage in Indiana, but Indiana is not San Francisco. Nonetheless, Bruce has the youth, beauty, and exuberance to pull it off. The coup de grace is an exquisite chain dotted with 4 amethyst chips that transform daylight to violet. In the center dangles a sharp crystal, a stone icicle that separates the light into rainbows. It's like a miniature disco ball. He saw it in the mystic eye and had to have it. It seems magical, like the key to this exciting new world. Even the mystic eye, it seemed like a dream. It was such a small shop, he could easily have missed it. He could have walked right by, but instead, he had opened the door. Destiny had called and he had answered. The mystic eye was a kind of magical shop that had existed in Bruce's fantasy world for nearly a decade. Now it is real. Now everything is real. Bruce has lived in a world which would have offered only rejection if he had revealed himself. For 21 years, he had hidden its truth inside himself. Bruce's finely cut face is trimmed by a beard which he hopes will make him look older, more sophisticated. His eyes are a light clear brown. He is 6'2" and beautifully muscled. He strides into the blow bar, a god of flesh. He orders bourbon on the rocks and waits. The night is wild and wet. Outside, fog licks its delicate tongue over windows and forms dancing spirits round the lights. Bruce flirts. Bruce dances. He is a butterfly spreading new wings. When Bruce leaves, it is 2 a.m. He and Robert walk arm in arm into the night. Robert is going to be more than a fling. Bruce knows it. He's enchanted. He has found a love as permanent and pure as a flawless gem. It will be forever. The street is cold, but alcohol and lust heat him. Tonight, Robert and Bruce wander toward his new apartment, dreaming of the life to come. Suddenly, something hard and strong strikes his back, knocking the wind from him, propelling him onto the ground. He thrashes wildly. 2 needle-sharp spikes pierce his neck. A warm, sensuous peace floods over him. He smiles, and despite the beard, looks momentarily like a small, happy child. He is found the next day, Robert beside him. They are bloodless and pale, locked in each other's arms, cold and stiff as crystal. Nana's face puckers. I don't like the shade of red, she says carefully, brushing out the deep crimson tassels that edge the narrow scarves she has just finished weaving. Asia sighs, snipping the thread. Like it or not, you will be weaving many of these, I see, all claws ending with the same fringe, no matter the pattern or design. Chapter 42, Gabrielle, San Francisco, 1983, Creation. Gabrielle is probably the only person in the city who is not following the killings. He spends his days crafting his necklaces and his nights searching for beautiful twilight strangers. His necklaces call out to vampires, sweet as blood, deadly as sunlight. They also call to Gabriel, running through his body like a song. He feels the pull like tides, like wind, like memory. Sometimes he follows the call, and then some beautiful stranger follows him, but it always ends in dust and ashes. Nothing is as final as the end of immortality. Gabrielle feels no desire to kill, only the need to be near their pale, lovely deadliness. He is drawn to them and they to him as surely, but more fatally, than bee to orchid. Working in the basement, he is completely absorbed. The act of creation focuses his existence. He is, for a brief moment, wrapped in the cosmos, at one with the universe. Upstairs, he leaves music on for his orchids. Chopin and Debussy wrap the plants in the music of melancholy and regret. The orchids thrive. They have grown large. They reach over the windows like Balinese shadow demons. Winds felt only by them make them bob and sway. It's a mystery how orchids can attract pollinators in the city through closed windows, but in the sill and floor beneath the orchids are littered by the bodies of insects. Gabrielle doesn't mind. It's no more of a problem to suck up the fallen bugs than the dust of his prey. Often he mixes the tiny corpses in with the ash. Chapter 43, River, San Francisco, 1983. Queer beer. San Francisco Chronicle. 2 new victims found in Castro. Both men, openly homosexual, had spent the night dancing at the queer beer. Police are questioning suspects. San Francisco Examiner. 2 men, Bruce Riley, age 21, and Robert Parker, age 23, were found murdered in San Francisco's Castro district last night, bringing the total number of murders this week to 5. The city is in a panic. San Francisco has not experienced this kind of hysteria since the Zodiac killer terrorized the city in the late 60s and early 70s. On the front page of the National Enquirer, there is a color shot of a Bela Lugosi lookalike staring into the camera, pale skin, eyes golden, long canines dripping blood. In his arm, he cradles the limp body of a handsome young man, scantily clad in shining black leather. Blood gushes from 2 holes in the handsome man's neck. "Vampires in San Francisco," reads the headline. River can't help reaching for the glossy paper. Funny, he thinks. I can resist junk food. I rarely even eat sweets, but this... "You want read, you buy," a sharp voice says. "Oh, it's you. Hello, River. You got 5 spice nuts?" The old Chinese newspaper man grins. Yang's teeth are worn and brown. It's a wonder he can manage those nuts, River thinks. "I don't have any on me, but I'll bring some by," he says. He pulls out his wallet. Keep it, says a newspaper. "You are famous for your nuts." River grins. If only Pamela thought so, he thinks. River has taken to waking late, arriving at JoJo's around 2 p.m. and baking late into the day and evening. Then he runs home, showers, and gets to Bert's by 10 or 9. Pamela's shift starts at 9. River spends most nights there. He has given up following Gabrielle and is following his heart instead. Although he always brings a mouth-watering array of sweets, Pamela's never tempted. Thanatos, who is almost always there, pomegranate juice in tow, is a much more appreciative audience. "I don't know what you mix in there, River," Thanatos says, noisily crunching 5 spice walnuts. He crumbles a saltine and offers it to Huck. Huck scoops it up eagerly. Huck has learned to avoid sweets. They never bring him lovely dreams or warm memories, only indigestion and illness. River is grateful. He's sick of cleaning up crow puke. "I could swear I flew with Huck last night," Thanatos says. "My wings enormous and black as his." "You know, you're not allowed to have birds in here, River." River looks up into the pink, meaty, not unfriendly face of Officer Jackson. Jackson's partner, who seems to spend his entire shift, perhaps his entire life, snoozing over donuts, is camped at their usual table. "Jackson!" Huck caws. Officer Jackson steps backward, eyes wide. Did you train him to do that?" he asked in a voice almost as hoarse as Huck's. River smiles what he's sure is a shit-eating grin. Well, Huck's a smart one. I never know what he'll come up with. He's still not allowed. Of course not, officer. Jackson, interjects Huck before River can finish. Would you like some five-spice walnuts or maybe blueberry delight? Blueberries, Officer Jackson says. My mom always loved blueberries and lilacs. We'd always have blueberry pancakes on her birthday and Mother's Day. He takes a slow bite, letting delight dissolve in his mouth. I've been thinking about my brother Jim, he adds. There doesn't seem to be a connection, but River nods. He was always a wild one, Jim was. We haven't talked for a long time, but Jackson's words melt away like snowfall in June. Thank you for listening. Join us next week when we were like wild creatures in lust and in love. The windows of the car clouded with passion, thick as a tule fog. Christian reached over me. With one long extended finger, he drew roses in the silhouettes of birds flying backward onto the perspiring glass. For months afterwards, I'd see the ghostly outlines on the window plastered across the sky like a memory of love. Thank you for joining. See you next week.